For tuning, whether you're on watching live or whether you're watching remotely. It's nice to have you guys here. Um, this is the last high school council meeting of the year. I cannot believe we're already to May. It's a busy week. And just I wanted to say how grateful I feel to this community. It's been a great year working together with our amazing, talented administration, our faculty, the parents, all for the sake of our impressive kids. So it's been a great year. Thank you to everybody that has put time and energy into making it such a success. And that includes all of you wonderful people here. I know we have a heavier agenda than we usually do today, but it's important that we roll through some of the updates. I'm going to let the administration go first, and then Hillary, I know you need to run, so you will be my first council report. Dr. Kelly, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. I wanted to just start off by mentioning to all of you, I sent a letter out yesterday that our very own Dr. Ketke has accepted a position to be superintendent in our one of the neighboring districts, Irvington. And so she's slated to start there July 1st. We are very happy for her. She gave us her all over these last 10 years. And we will forever be grateful to her for that. With every goodbye comes some exciting opportunities. And I look forward to sharing with all of you over the next few weeks our plans to fill that position. So I'm sure if you see her, you will add your congratulations. We're really so happy for her. I wanted to also thank the foundation. Our Board of Ed has approved yet another incredibly impressive slate of grants that the foundation has approved. One of those was a very significant one to help us cover the new security vestibule on Pondfield Road, over $360,000. Which is just incredible that they, were able to be so generous with us. That leads me to our May 21st budget vote. I encourage everybody to come out and vote. We do not have a contested election this year, and yet I would still love to see a high participation rate in the vote. It's not only for our budget, but there is also a referendum on there to allow the district to tap our capital reserve funds. So these funds exist, but in order to tap them, we need the community to allow us to do that. And that is for not to exceed $1,300,000 to cover the security vestibule. Now we'll have to tap less thanks to the generosity of the foundation. And then also for the covers of the flood pumps, because we want to get the longest life out of those flood pumps as we can. So please come out and vote on May 21st. And then just, of course, another shout out to the PTA, who has so generously focused on our beautification on our front property. And we are so grateful because everyone knows that that has been long overdue. And of course, in the operating budget, we always have competing priorities. And we're just so pleased that the PTA has focused on that and has focused their fundraising on that. And we're really excited to have our moving up ceremonies and our graduation out there with some of our new landscaping. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm going to ask Aaron from the counseling office to give us an update.
Gladly. Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all. Been a little busy the past 7 days or so. AP exams are in full swing, so I've been getting my steps in the building. We're excited to administer many of the 10th graders' first AP exam tomorrow morning in the main gym. But separate from that, we've also been continuing to work with students across grade levels. Just recently, Tim brought in the freshman transition leaders to the Health 9 classes to talk about course selection and sort of prepare the ninth graders for what to expect sort of firsthand from 10th grade classes. We also held an interest meeting for next year's transition leaders. So rising 10th graders and rising juniors and rising seniors expressed interest in being transition leaders. So those applications are, on a Google Classroom we created for them, and they're due next week. So if you have a rising junior or senior and you think they'd be good leaders, please encourage them to apply or see me or Tim if they have any questions. We are also preparing for senior week, which I'd imagine Ann's going to talk a little bit about, but specifically the counselors will be meeting with the seniors to talk to them about accessing accommodations on college campus, sort of preparing to plan ahead for what to expect, September of this year. And we have them do like a little exit survey to help us sort of reflect on, what they've found meaningful and important and what they'd like to see more of. And lastly, I also wanted to thank the foundation. I was just informed our grant for a college essay writing workshop was approved. And so that will be scheduled in late August. Once I have more details, I will share that with the parents and students of the class of 2025. But we want to make sure that as many students can attend that as possible. And in that communication, I will also share some other programming that will happen for the seniors in September and October. As always, we're so proud of our students. They've worked so hard. They've been working to the last minute of some of these AP exams. It's really awesome to see. And yeah, that's it from me. Thank you.
Thanks so much. I know that you've also been getting some emergency phone calls at the beginning of the day if someone's sick and having to reschedule. So thank you very much for doing that and managing. Joe Haven, I see you're on. Nice to see you.
Good evening. Basically right now, the major update is we're just about getting ready to start all the playoffs for all the teams that have qualified. So tennis started today and they had their first win, so they're on their way, and everybody else will start the playoffs later this week or beginning of next week. And we're starting to prepare for the fall. Most of the schedules are done for the fall. Maybe a few non-league games that we haven't scheduled yet, but the majority of schedules are done for the fall. Planning all the physicals and things of that nature. We're trying to get our coaches all hired, so we're ready to go. Come September 26th, August 26th, football starts the 24th, everything else starts the 26th. And we're just waiting for Section 1 to confirm that date. That date was originally confirmed. And then the state decided to start a week earlier. But Section 1 voted against starting earlier. So right now, the three conferences in Section 1 have all agreed not to start until the 24th or the 26th. So now we're just waiting for the executive committee to approve that, and that should be done by the end of the week, if not end of next week. But we've been telling the folks in advance that those are the start dates, and then the state threw a little monkey wrench in it. So I will say I think 9 of the 11 sections are going to start early, but Section 1 has decided not to start early. It won't impact games or anything because we built the schedule based on that happening anyways. It's just basically that we'll have one last week of preseason basically. So basically preseason starts the week before Labor Day, and then school starts and we're right into it. Usually it's a two week preseason. This year will be a 1 week preseason, then Labor Day hits, and then we start practicing. So what we're going to do to help out a little bit with that is we're going to delay the start of the modified sports 1 week. So that way the varsity teams can get actually 2 weeks of full work in before we start cutting our practice times down to 1 hour and 15 to 1 hour and a half with additional modified teams added in. And that's about it.
Okay. Thank you. I have the foundation report, but I'm going to save that for a few minutes. I'm going to ask Hillary Bloomreich to give an update on all things related to the senior class. think you're still on mute, Hill.
Thanks, Emily. I'm going to be very brief, although there's a lot going on with the seniors going into senior week. And I just want to, first of all, I just want to thank both the foundation and the PTA for approving a grant for our senior speaker, Harlan Cohen. It's we're very appreciative. Harlan Cohen is speaking to the seniors and the PTA, the body. Sorry, I'm like, I have allergies right now. He's speaking to the parent body the evening of the 22nd. And it's they're promoting it the evening, and I'm going to let everybody else speak that night, but speak about that later. But he's a dynamic speaker. But anyway, but the senior class, we're kicking off the senior week next week with a lot of events, starting off Monday with the cookie kickoff and the T-shirt, and then we're going to Boundless Adventures next on Tuesday. We're also on Wednesday, Harlan is coming to speak with them. He's also going to speak with the 8th graders and talking about it's basically talking about transitions, and then we're going to do Village Hall. Excuse me, pardon me. And then we're going to be doing a lot of events moving on with oh my God, excuse me. We're also going to be doing an event with the Reformed Church on Thursday for community service events, and followed with a lot of events with Lillian Newman and self-defense events, self-defense and events throughout the events. I'm messing this up a little bit, but we actually have a very eventful week for the seniors that I can't speak to quite right now because of allergies. Sorry. Emily, you asked me to speak. Sorry. Everyone else is out right now, but Anne can talk about this a lot. It's actually a really good event, but I really do want to encourage everybody else. I don't know how many people are on this right now, but I'm really encouraging the PTA, which Deirdre, I think you're on this, the Harlan Cohen event that Wednesday evening. Please, it's a really exciting event, and I really would try to encourage everybody to go to, because he's a dynamic speaker, and try to follow his Instagram handle. He's really cool, and a lot of people have been following him, and he came here in 2019, I believe, and he's talking about transitions and for parents and transitioning for parents, and talking about teens or parents having college age kids go to college. And I'm not doing this well, but anyway, he's dynamic. Anyway, I'm not a good speaker tonight, but anyway, he's great. Anyway, it's great. The kids are doing great. We have prom coming up on Friday. Anyway,
It's a big week.
Sorry.
It's a big week. Thank you.
It's a big week. Sorry, I'm not that great right now.
These ladies, Hillary, Toby, Ashley, and Shannon have been working all year to pull senior week off, and Hillary especially has recruited Harlan to come in. Thank you guys so much for all the hard work.
To the foundation. Yeah, it's been great. Sorry, I'm not articulating this well.
Well, the Harlan is coming as co-sponsor from the PTA and the school foundation through a grant. So that's also very exciting that the whole school kind of rallied around him, because he's that good. So he's talking to the 8th graders and the 9th graders, I believe, and then the seniors.
Just 8th grade.
And the parents. Just 8th grade. Okay. But it's exciting. We shall go next Wednesday night, 7 o'clock at the Jaeger Room in the library.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry. I'm signing off.
Okay. Thanks, Hillary.
Thank you. Sorry.
No worries. I see Carrie Long has joined us. There's a lot going on for the juniors as well. So I'm going to let her speak to what's going on from that perspective.
Great, thanks. We have just finished up a super successful mock ACT, SAT second round this spring, and jointly between the fall and the spring mocks raised over $8,000 for the PTA, which was awesome. Thank you, Erin, for all your help with that super successful event. And I think a lot of families benefited from it, so it was great. We are helping to organize the prom on Friday. So I think everyone received the update today about that, but just to go over some of the specifics, the promenade is from 5:45 to 6:30 on Pond Field. And we have learned that the fences will be down on the lawn there. So that's exciting. And we'll have the balloon arch and photographer, and you must be checked in by a parent. So any juniors or seniors attending have to be brought by their parent and checked in, and you check in at the table that's the same number as the bus you have been assigned to or chosen to go to prom. And the bus you must arrive by 6:30. And then the buses will be returning to Pond Field at 11:30, and no one needs to be checked out at that time. So students will just be released. And I think that's the main updates for prom night.
Perfect. Okay, so it's a busy week, and then it's just going to slide right into more busy. And I asked Jen Heathwood to come on and talk to us about graduation, baccalaureate, all the festivities at the very end of the year for the seniors.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me. So yes, in this role, I am working on graduation, and we've got some great things coming up. Obviously, you guys know Saturday, June 15th is graduation. The seniors need to be there at 5, and the ceremony is at 6:30. I just want to remind everyone that we have put together a really great senior website that has everything that Hillary was talking about today is going to be up to date on there, or the link is on there now. And the all the graduation information is on there. So if you ever want to check back, I helped make the site, but I'm still always checking it because I forget what time things were. So please use that. There's a link in the agenda that was sent out tonight. And there's also, you can access it from the high school website under parents, and then it'll say 2024 seniors and graduation. So again, graduation, June 15th, baccalaureates, Friday, the night prior. I feel like I want to remind people to send in, we got a link for pictures of your seniors so that they're included in the senior video. And I know Hillary's son, Griffin, is working on that. And we want to make sure every senior is in that video. The video will be shown to the seniors as a class while they're sitting in the auditorium waiting to process out for the graduation ceremony. So it's just such a nice way that they all come together, and a fun video to watch as a group. So you definitely want to make sure you get some good pictures in there. Let me see what else I have here. I think I've covered everything I wanted to cover. If you haven't already, you should make sure you reply to the Google form with how many tickets you need for graduation. You're late on that if you haven't done it yet. And then I'm sorry, I'm calling it tickets, but it's seats, reserved seats at graduation. You don't need tickets, but you can reserve up to 6 seats. And then if you need more than that, there's plenty of room in the back for everyone. Everywhere is a good view, so it's fine. But to get your 6 reserved seats, make sure you reply to that Google form that was sent out. And the link is on that site I referenced. And then I think everybody that wanted to got tickets to the optional PTA organized dinner after the graduation ceremony. But if you're just seeing this and you missed the emails, let us know, because I know there were a few specific tickets left for sale if anyone wanted to go to the dinner and missed that. And yeah, I think that's everything for now. And Emily, should I say anything? Can I just say hi from high school council too?
You bet. Absolutely.
And I just want to let people know, maybe you know this, but in case you don't, this year, I'm also vice chair of high school council. So next year I will be chair and I'll take over running meetings. And if anyone wants to get involved, volunteer, I'm still looking for some volunteers for my roster, and I'd love to have you join us with high school council next year. Thanks.
And I will add that you'll be very lucky to work with Jen Heathwood. She is the most organized, thoughtful volunteer you'll ever come across. And she will make your job very easy, speaking from experience.
Thank you.
So I would encourage everybody to work with Jen. All right, I have a few council reports to give. The first one is from the Bronxville School Foundation. So as we've heard from some of our speakers, we just finished up a grant cycle with 31 grants totaling more than $650,000. As Dr. Kelly mentioned, a lot of that went to the security vestibule for the flagpole entrance. But there's also tons of grants that will help our high school specifically, among which are AI classes. There are special Baroque bows that are used for the orchestra instruments that we are piloting next year. There were grants to fund speakers for new curriculums around civil discourse, the college essay workshop. And then there is also some athletic focus grants. Some football sleds were approved, as well as the mental performance coach for all of the athletics, as well as the strength and conditioning specialist that we piloted this year, who is available not only to athletes, but to everybody. So all of everyone's donations and generosity make these grants possible. And it is a large part of what makes our school really special. So thank you for giving generously to support things that make our school and our curriculum extra. I wanted to also give an update from the Arts Council. I'm actually I am going to talk about the week first. It's been busy at Bronxville School. Obviously, AP exams started last week, and they continue until the end of this week. We wrapped up all of our end of year performances from band and orchestra and chorus, including the band concert performed for the first time the piece Roaring Twenties that was composed by Carl Stroman in conjunction with the band. It was an amazing performance. It's available on YouTube if anyone wants to go back and watch it again.
And we're going to be incorporating it into our Memorial Day ceremony. So it's another chance to hear it live.
Obviously, if you have a junior or senior, you know it's prom on Friday because they're all doing their promposals, which is a fun follow on Instagram for anyone that likes a giggle. And then next week is another crazy busy week. On Monday, it's the Arts Festival. I think this is the 3rd annual. So right after school, it's going to be an interactive art display, more focused at little kids. And then at 5 o'clock, our jazz band is going to perform. There'll be a fashion show. We have an open mic night and food trucks coming in. And then on Tuesday, it's the K through 12 art show. So while you go vote for the budget, stop in and check out the artwork of our talented students. And then Memorial Day festivities kick off next week as well. So Tuesday is the apparel sale, and it just runs straight on through the weekend until Saturday. There's the Memorial Day run. They're looking for volunteers. You can sign up on membership toolkit. There's also going to be a sign up genius coming out to help with the carnival. High school students are strongly encouraged to sign up if they have time for the carnival, to help man a safety post during the run. And then there is also an online auction this year with amazing items like you can be superintendent or high school principal for the day. You could be technology officer for the day. I don't know what that means for our firewalls. You can name your own sandwich at Lang's for the year. There's sports tickets, golf events, ballet tickets, hotel stays, private events at restaurants. But the Memorial Day team has been working really hard. There's also the used book sale again this year, but they're only accepting donations on Monday. So be sure to clean out your bookshelves this weekend for them. Through my notes. I think that's it. We talked about Harlan Cohen. And that's it from me. So I will hand the rest of the meeting over to Anne.
Hi, everyone. I feel like you've covered most everything. I have a list. And as everyone has gone, you kind of gone through each thing that's coming up. So I don't have any more specific events to share. I would just mention that it's a little bit different on our calendar this year. Classes go until Tuesday, June 11th. And the award ceremony, and I'm sorry for the lighting in my den, the award ceremony is Wednesday, June 12th. That is just so that we get enough instructional days for New York State, given the way the calendar fell. So you will receive more information about the award ceremonies, and any parent of a student receiving an award or a certificate will also get a specific email so that you are able to come. And that will be coming out probably late May, early June. What I thought I would spend a little bit of time, in addition to just, I guess, saying thank you so much to the PTA for all of your work this year. Everything that's been talked about is really the result of tons of volunteer work that our parents do, as well as the foundation, which makes a huge difference in the high school in terms of what we're able to offer and do. I wanted to just spend a little bit of time talking about a trip that I recently took with Dr. Ketke, the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction. We were able to travel to Finland through a generous grant from the foundation and just really get a sense of how the Finnish education system works and come back with some insights and thoughts. And so I put together a brief presentation that Mara and I will give in more detail at the Board of Education meeting in June, but I thought I'd give the high school council a little preview. And we'll also be reporting out to the foundation. But essentially, we joined a group of educators, mostly superintendents and assistant superintendents, through Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES, which is a professional development organization. And we visited Finland for a week in April. And during our visit, we spent time in schools and also spoke to educators that ranged from principals of schools to people who supervise regions of the country to really understand their school system and why Finland regularly scores very high on internationally benchmarked tests, although their scores have gone down a bit in the last few years. So, as I mentioned, we were really looking at, what is the curriculum that's offered in the Finnish system? What do they focus on? What kind of instruction do teachers share with students, and how do they organize their system to support students and their growth? And so to do that, we visited a number of schools, as I said, and spoke to individuals, educators throughout the system. And so I have a few insights that I just wanted to share. Probably, I think the biggest takeaway that we heard is that the focus of their system is on the happy 27-year-old. So some of you may know that Finland ranks as the happiest country in the world. I think that ranking actually just came out when we were there. And what's interesting is they spoke about this idea of their happy students when they're 27. And so they said their educational goal is to think about their 27-year-old students and are they happy? And what does that mean? That means, are they prepared to do the work they're doing? And I think there's something really interesting that happens in the Finnish system, which is that 40% of their student body goes to vocational schools, whereas 60% follow an academic track. So in fact, a good portion of their students, and this is highly valued, do continue in vocational areas such as mechanics, plumbers, electricians, etc. And so are these 27-year-olds prepared to do the work they're doing, and do they enjoy it? And that is their goal, that at 27, one of their students will feel prepared and be doing something they enjoy. I think some of this is cultural. I've mentioned to people in terms of the focus, there's definitely less of a feeling of competition in the country and more the idea that everyone deserves to be happy with where they're at. So here's some pictures from some of our visits. And one of the other things that we really walked away from the visit with was this idea of the Finnish school system really encouraging independence and resilience from their youngest ages. So you can see two of these pictures show just kind of boards where students' independence and ability to do things on their own is tracked with some of the little clothespins. And then there's a group of young students who are just walking into town to clean up. And so when we saw these students in this pre-K to third grade school, really a lot less adult intervention. The students were managing themselves. They were putting on their snowsuits to go outside. They were interacting with one another in ways that we felt like we should intervene as educators, and the educators, Finnish educators, said, no, they can work that out. So really an interesting focus on letting students figure things out themselves. So I think I'll address some of the questions that are coming up. So there's a very interesting concept in the Finnish education system, which is up through 9th grade, students are expected to learn for 45 minutes and then play for 15 minutes every hour. Every single hour, and usually the 15 minutes of play is outside. So if you can imagine from 1st grade through the end of middle school, students will be in class and learn, and then they go outside. And when we told these students, some of the students we spoke to, what the schedule is for our students, I remember one of them said, how can you learn when you have to sit for that long? So it was just a completely different way of looking at what is productive in the course of a school day. And here's some pictures. Now, the picture on the left of this trampoline, which we couldn't believe, in the school, there's just a trampoline set up where they're bouncing on a ramp. And what you can't see is the corner of a bookshelf right next to the ramp. And I think we were watching these kids. I mean, you can see how high she's jumping, thinking, this is a terrible idea. Someone should stop them from doing this. Nope. They let the kids keep playing, having fun, jumping off the trampoline. Here's another picture on the right. You'll see the middle schoolers out for their 15 minutes of play. And as a result of so many students going in and out, students don't wear shoes in school because Finland is snowy and dirty and rainy, I guess, most of the school year, and they don't want that tracked inside. So you can see on the left are some of the shelves by the door where everyone takes off their shoes when they go into the building. And that was kind of crazy. We took our shoes off. So I have to say the feeling of walking without your shoes on in a school is very different. It gives you a little bit more of a feeling of home, to be honest, when you're in your socks in school. It's also quieter. There's a couple of other things I wanted to mention briefly. One, in terms of Finnish educators, this is unique. Education, being a teacher in Finland, is one of the top 5 most respected professions, along with doctors and lawyers and engineers. And so it's extremely competitive to get into teacher education programs. Only 10% of the people who apply actually are accepted. And partly as a cultural sort of a cultural piece, but also I think because of the extremely qualified teachers, there's this idea of complete trust. Once someone is hired, this blew our minds, they don't even get observed. Teachers are trusted. They're in there, they know what to do. They're going to do it, and they're going to do it well. There's no teacher evaluation. There's no ratings of teachers. So that was quite interesting. Just a couple more quick thoughts. So I think this speaks to the question in the chat. The curriculum is very project-based. Every student is expected to do 4 to 6 major projects over the course of a year. And you can just see this in one of the elementary schools. This teacher's introducing a project. If you look on the right, there's like a red thread. They call that the red through line of the unit. And that is the same for a particular grade level in all the classrooms that teach it, but students might approach it differently based on their teacher. Just quickly, because I know we're getting a little late for everyone, but I wanted to mention that in Finland, students are given a hot lunch every day at every school that is free. Every student eats lunch at school, the lunch that is provided by the school. And this just gives you, on the upper left, this is our pre-K through 2nd or 3rd grade. You can see each of these kids has a tray that they carried with their little glass and their plate and their silverware. There's nothing plastic or paper or disposable. On the right, the large picture, that's the middle school. You can see all those students with their, and if you look at the bottom right corner, I don't know if you can see this, but there's just tubs of butter, which are wide open, and kids are just buttering their toast, which kind of blew me away because we have all of our little packages because we would never want people to share knives and peanut butter. They've just got, you know, everyone is grabbing their food at a buffet and serving themselves. And then finally on the bottom left, that's the high school, but you can even see their little table runners in the middle of their tables. And I will tell you, it's very quiet. The students are just more, I couldn't believe I was in a high school cafeteria. Very quiet. But in any case, the education system feels this is essential. Nourishment every day. Just a little bit more space, and the way space is designed is extremely important in their system of education. And so if you look on the left, the entire 1st grade will come together in a central space, and they'll maybe get a teacher-led introduction to a topic. And then around that center space are the classrooms for that grade. And so teachers have their homerooms, but let's say they're doing a project and they have a small group of kids that might struggle a little. One teacher might pull those kids into that classroom, and a group that might, need to be pushed a little, they'll get pulled into a different classroom by a different teacher. So this idea that you're staying with your same teacher all day, every day, it's different. You have a team. The team kind of works with the grade, and the way the grade is divided is very flexible based on the project, which we found interesting. On the right, this is the preschool. There's a lot of windows. It's also very clean. You can see there's not a lot on the walls. So that was something we noticed. If you look in this picture on the left, the little Murphy beds that come out for nap time, we thought that was fascinating. And then on the right was this wonderful small rural school. So what you're looking at is the center area. They actually called it the heart of the school. They had these in 2 or 3 places, and then the classrooms were off of it. So if students were doing independent work, they didn't have to stay in the classroom. They were free to go work wherever they wanted. So these are just kids walking around, doing their work, sitting down at a table. You know, adults are in the area, but it's not like they have to stay in their classroom. Again, this goes to the independence piece. This picture on the left is a high school. This I would kind of compare to our learning commons. It's where kids can go, you know, to do work if they have a free period. And then on the right is the school that I showed before. This is the same central space, but this is being used by 9th graders. So again, some have work to do, but they don't have to be in their classroom to do work. These students are in class, but they're sitting in that center area working. They're totally trusted to be wherever they need to be in the school when they're doing work, and then they come back when they need to come back. So quickly, you know, what do we bring back to Bronxville just at a glance? I kind of categorized this in some of the things that we've been thinking about as a result of the trip, Dr. Ketke and I. One is how we use facilities as collaborative spaces and how we might use them more for the high school. For instance, if we had multiple sections of a class at the same time, we could use the learning commons for a larger lecture style component of a lesson, and then break off into smaller groups if we were utilizing that space a little bit differently. Time, as I mentioned, this whole idea of 45 minutes of learning, 15 minutes of break. The high school has more of that because we do have 10 minutes between classes for our break time. And we also have our X block, which I think has been very popular and successful. But I think what we don't do as much is encourage students to get outside more during the day, other than at lunch. Independence is another area I think that was very interesting and that we've been thinking a lot about. These schools take a lot of trips, short trips into town as classes, longer trips on the subway system. But I think they just get out of the building and into the community a lot. Again, more freedom to be able to work anywhere in the building if there's independent work going on. Why do we have to keep kids in a classroom as long as they're getting work done and behaving? And then in general, this idea of just less interference from adults. We were walking down the hall in a middle school and 2 kids were arguing. I couldn't understand it. It was in Finnish. So I asked our guide, what are they talking about? He said, oh, they're having a disagreement. I said, well, do you want to help resolve it? He said, no, they'll figure it out. I think I probably in that moment in the hall would have said, hey, what's going on? Take it easy. There's just not this instinct to involve yourself in all of the stuff going on with kids. They're very focused on letting children work things out themselves. So, and then finally, with this sort of trust in faculty, excellence in their faculty. I mean, we have an outstanding faculty at Bronxville. I think Mara and I have been considering ways to increase opportunities for faculty to lead work, particularly professional development in the school. So I haven't had a chance to look at some of these comments. So let's see. Just one, I think. Do the teachers get tenure? They do. There is a tenure process. And so that is similar to ours in terms of it's about 3 years before they get tenure. And then their tenure, I think, holds similar weight in terms of what rights they receive if they get tenure. But it's just so interesting. No school is rated against any other school. There's no rankings. There's no competition between schools. Just a very different feel. Very different feel. Some of it is cultural, and I think we understood that. And some of it, I think, is things we could take back to Bronxville and consider. We did, I think Mara and I, of the group that was there, felt that Bronxville probably does the most in terms of project-based learning, student voice, student choice of the educators who were on the trip, but there's always ways that we can get better and think differently. So hopefully that was interesting to all of you. We will do a more extensive presentation in June at the board meeting, but it was a fascinating trip and I'm so grateful to the foundation for funding it. It was also, I think, quite interesting. Finland borders Russia. The conflict in Ukraine has had a significant impact on Finland. Their largest trading partner was Russia, and now all of that trade is shut down. And so actually their economy is not doing well for the last 2 years, and that's impacting schools significantly. Schools are getting less funding. So that was also a very we found that kind of connection to be very interesting as well. In any case, thanks for giving me a little time to share.
It sounds like a really cool trip. And I know that like you'll be digesting this material over and over again. So I can't wait to see how it filters into our curriculum. Awesome. That's kind of it from my end too. I just want to extend one more thank you to all of my volunteers that have stepped up this year. I feel like the councils have done a particularly amazing job this year. The PTA programming has been amazing. We've had incredible speakers that Be Well and Bold have brought in. We launched the sustainability committee to a lot of success and cut down on a lot of waste within the school. We've had our best attended faculty lunches ever. And I'm just super excited to see how we capitalize on all the momentum for next year under Jen Heathwood's brilliant leadership. Thank you always to Anne, to Rachel, to Aaron, all of the administration for your leadership. It makes our jobs really easy. So thank you.
Emily, thank you so much for being an amazing high school council chair. It's been a smooth year with you at the helm, so thank you.
Thanks. It's been fun. It's been a pleasure. So thanks everyone. My longest meeting ever.
That's my fault, so I'll take the credit.
No, it's great. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you around school.
Good night,
Bye.
everybody.
Night,
Night.
everyone.